What has a steam train got to do with a watch? Any watch. Surely these are very different things. One is a beastly locomotive, and the other is a small, delicate timepiece. But you'd be surprised the connection they have, and how one assisted the other to help us take a large step into the world that we know now. This train may look old-fashioned now, but in its day, steam trains were at the cutting edge of technology. And the most famous one in the world turns 100 years old this year. And Zero West have made a couple of watches to commemorate that have a special connection. From the billows of steam appears the mighty engine, the Flying Scotsman. The Boeing 747 of its day was the first train to officially achieve a speed of 100 miles an hour. Something that was unimaginable to people at the time. And it was trains like this that changed the world. These hefty locomotives played a huge part in standardizing time between cities in Britain and consequently around the world. For the longest time, people didn't have any sort of timekeeping device of their own, in their home or certainly not on their person. Instead, they relied on a localized timekeeping system that usually came in the shape of a sundial mounted on the wall of a local church. As the hours go by on the dial, the church bells would ring, and everyone in the town would know what time it was. But because the sun rises sooner in the east than it does in the west, towns would be out of sync by up to 30 minutes in some cases. London, for example, was 4 minutes ahead of Reading, 11 minutes ahead of Bristol, and 18 minutes ahead of Exeter. This led to some very confusing timetables. But the truth is, it really didn't matter. Before the high-speed train system, people rarely travelled from town to town, and if they did, they went on horseback. This could sometimes take days, and by the time you arrived at your destination, who cared about a few minutes here or there? With the advent of high-speed trains, now it was possible to reach the next town over in 20 minutes or half an hour. It wasn't going to work if, upon arriving, you were told that it was roughly the same time as when you left. So cities across the United Kingdom were forced to line up their clocks with London. Believe it or not, it was actually met with resistance from many towns. Why should they change their clock? Some towns even resorting to mounting clocks with 2-minute hands, one for local time and one for Cockney time. Think of it. These days, synchronization of time around the world is of the utmost importance to us as we perform long-distance video calls with each other. But at the time, many people felt that being forced to change their clocks was a form of elitism sent down from the capital. But of course, it was nothing of the sort. Synchronizing towns was about improving efficiency and simplifying travel and commerce. So in the end, high-speed steam trains were the beginning of synchronization throughout Britain and across the world. The fastest of which was engine number 1472, also known as the Flying Scotsman, because of its regular trip between London and Edinburgh, Scotland. And after so many years of being out of commission and travelling the world as a museum piece, the Scotsman has finally returned home to be fully restored to original condition and placed back on the tracks. 1 whole century after it was built. And in collaboration with the National Railway Museum and Science Museum Group, Zero West bring us the Flying Scotsman 1 and Flying Scotsman 2. The brand is known for its robust and hefty timepieces, each one celebrating great moments in British history and engineering. There's the S4, named after the Spitfire Mark I, protagonist of the dogfights of World War II, and its older brother, the Hurricane. Then there was the TT-58, celebrating the heydays of British motorsports in the 50s and 60s. And of course, the Dam Busters. Each of these timepieces carries a piece of history inside it. And these 2 new pieces are no exception to that rule. They both carry casebacks made from boiler tube metal from the Scotsman itself. So out of only 100 of each made, no 2 are alike. But like any great brand, Zero West has listened to its customers and finally built a watch for the more moderately sized wrist. A 41mm case, 3mm smaller than its predecessors in the Zero West catalogue. A 13mm thick and 46 from lug to lug. It's a more moderately sized watch than we're used to from the brand. But don't be fooled. These are still incredibly robust and perfectly engineered timepieces. They maintain their 22mm lug width for the bracelet. The result is having the heft of a Zero West watch without the case size. What we're left with is the perfect collaboration. A fine British watch brand, together with an historic icon. Taking design cues from the dials and gauges of the engine itself, and from the famous clock at Platform 8, King's Cross Station, where the Scotsman will begin its journey each morning. A little piece of the past that shaped our present.